luxury. That was my worst intro ever. After hundreds of videos, this is it. I've outdone myself today. Hi, I'm Kristen, and today we are going to be talking about quiet luxury. I would love to sit here today and film a 5-minute video where I show you how to dress and follow the quiet luxury style, because as you can see, I follow it heavily, love it, can't get enough of it. But instead, I'm going to sit here for an hour until 2 o'clock in the morning talking about what this style means about our culture. Why is it gaining popularity again? Because as we're going to find out, this is not a new trend at all. What does this trend have to do with sustainability? What does it have to do with fascism? And I'm very excited about today's video because I love nothing more than taking trends and talking about fashion and tying it in with culture. They're my two favorite interests meeting together in one. So I'm excited. So quiet luxury is a new trend, huge quotes around that is gaining traction online. And a lot more people are now talking about it since Kylie Jenner showed up on TikTok in a much different look than we're used to seeing her. I cannot do a Gossip Girl impression, but let me try for a moment. Rise and shine, Upper East Siders, Gossip Girl here. Who would have thought that none other than a Kardashian would be seen ditching her skimpy, slutty clothes in exchange for elegant, chic, and old money attire? Kylie Jenner herself was spotted on TikTok and accused of copying none other than her brother-in-law's ex-girlfriend, Sofia Richie's style. But why, you may ask? I'm done doing this bit. Why? Why is Kylie Jenner suddenly dressing in much more chic and elegant clothing? Seeing a Kardashian Jenner dressed in almost like presidential first lady kind of clothes is jarring, and it feels like we have entered a different universe. If you don't believe me, just watch this.
Monday, we start off
Cunt.
Tuesday, we keep it
Pussy.
Wednesday.
I'm showing you bitches how to do it.
Thursday, we start to
Go crazy.
This is very much a style that we are not used to seeing the Kardashians in. And so that's why it's big news. That's why a lot of people are talking about it. That's how all the discourse has started. That being said, I found a really interesting TikTok that analyzes why this quiet luxury kind of old money type of style is being now adopted by a person like Kylie Jenner. And let's take a look at that.
Did a philosopher from 1899 accurately predict the Sofia Richification of Kylie Jenner? Traditional media and social media have been having a field day, wondering if this is the dawn of a new Kardashian era. Cough, quiet luxury. For someone who's known for their conspicuous logomania, loud style, she is looking as inconspicuous as ever. And all of a sudden I was like, things are clicking. We've spoken about conspicuous consumption on this page, originally coined by Veblen in 1899. Socioculturally, we tend to see a direct relationship between inconspicuous consumption, which is like quiet luxury, and accrued status during periods of economic decline. So our global economy should help further contextualize headlines like this, because under this lens, the intensity to define quiet luxury via tropes like Succession, Gwyneth Paltrow's court style, Sofia's personal style, the burgeoning richification of Kylie Jenner all starts to make sense. But was it ever just about the clothes? Or is it about uncovering this invisible cloak of status that is rapidly shifting before our eyes?
So yeah, unfortunately, this seems like more proof that we are entering in a recession, which is devastating for me personally, because I feel like I have lived my entire adult life in a recession. I'm born and raised in Greece. And it has been so fucking annoying having the rug pulled under your feet constantly. It's just like a constant sort of Looney Tunes rolling around and around on a rug that is being constantly pulled. I experienced the Great Recession here in Greece and we never got out of it. And I do not want another recession. I am so tired of struggling financially. Unfortunately, it is something that is happening and I'm noticing it as a content creator. I work with brands and I do sponsorships in order to make a living. And I have to say that I've noticed noticed a decline in sponsorship offers and in general the amount of money that sponsors are willing to invest. And my views have been consistent on this channel, so it's not that like I've had a dramatic drop in my views and that might justify sponsors wanting to pay less. It feels like a recession is happening and I don't want that. I'm so tired. I'm tired. Editor Kristen here to let you know that today's video is brought to you by the amazing, awesome, incredible, one-of-a-kind, never seen before members that support this channel. And if you would also like to upgrade from basic minimalist viewer to quietly luxurious viewer, then make sure to click the join button below so you can get access to monthly members only exclusive videos. And here is a little sneak peek of what you missed last month. What's interesting is that last summer, I went on a date with this girl, one and only date. The current zeitgeist is basically that like you have to align yourself with certain ideologies and with certain labels in order to be like a good person. And I'm like, we're putting more value on the label than what the label represents. Also, a huge, ginormous thank you to all the viewers that have joined so far. I'm so grateful and so thankful. And those are the same words. Anyways, let's get back to the video. What is interesting is that the wealthier classes during times of recession try to dress in a more conspicuous way and kind of mask their wealth and do it in a more quiet luxury way where they are still wearing expensive clothing, but their clothing is not shouting and screaming, I am rich. Here is a Gucci logo. Here's a Prada logo. Here is a Balenciaga logo. People are gravitating away from logos and logomania and very flashy clothing. And they're starting to kind of adopt a more minimal type of dressing. But this is not a new thing. And I'm not sure if this is even something that happens exclusively during times of economic recession, because quiet luxury is a trend that is actually not a trend. It's a specific aesthetic that keeps getting rebranded as a new trend, as we're gonna see in this TikTok.
Quiet luxury, old money, minimalism, that girl, clean girl, soft girl, vanilla girl, cinnamon girl, light femininity, coastal grandmother. These are literally all just recycled versions of the same aesthetic, and every 7 to 10 business days, they are rebranded so that they can be sold to us and made to feel new. The concept behind quiet luxury was that you bought fewer things that were higher quality and would last longer. Now it's just another aesthetic that can be duped with Aritzia and Zara and even Shein. I'm very fatigued by this particular topic and the classism that comes along with it, particularly the phrase money talks, wealth whispers. Yes, sometimes wealth does whisper, and then other times it yells really, really loud. That phrase is not just applicable to clothes.
One of the comments here is sad beige clothes for sad beige adults. I'm gonna like that. Another comment says, and it's all just freaking polyester. You know how I feel about polyester. Not a big fan. I say as I am wearing a polyester top, but I thrifted it, okay? It's better. It's better than buying new. Another interesting comment, the old money look really helps me as a woman of color. I feel like I'm finally sitting at the right tables and have a voice. Sadly, it comes down to this. Someone else said, I call it white supremacy aesthetic. So essentially this quiet luxury aesthetic is an aesthetic that we've seen time and time again, rebranded with a different name. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna call it minimalist because this is the name which I grew up knowing it as. It is minimalist, basic. What I find very interesting is that minimalism as a style, and definitely not a trend, because this is not something that is just here and never to be seen again. It has been around for more than a decade, way more than a decade as a matter of fact. There's a video on YouTube discussing the rise of minimalist fashion and how it ties into fascism. You might have heard of this YouTuber. She's beautiful, smart, charismatic, quite fun to be around. It's me. I made a video about it about a year ago. Roll the clip. Here we go. About 100 years after that supposed first fashion designer, something does start going amiss in fashion in general, because we start going from wearing this to wearing this.
I have absolutely nothing against basics, and this isn't me shaming people for wearing basics. I wear basics all the time as well. They're practical and comfortable. But what I want to demonstrate to you through this series of photos is the complete lack of individualism within modern fashion. What I've done is I've gathered recent pictures of crowds of people from all across the world. And these are people with different ethnic backgrounds, different religions. Some are living under communism, some are living under capitalism. But what all of these people have in common is that they're wearing the same exact uniform. Personally, I think individualism and collectivism are tools that can either be used positively or negatively. And specifically when it comes to fashion, I do think that individualism should be encouraged. I am very confused in how modern capitalist society, which is so extremely theoretically individualist, would tackle fashion specifically in such a collectivist way. And it's amazing how the people that are the most critical of collectivist ideologies are also the most likely to dress in a more uniform and collectivist way. It's fascinating. People all across the planet were way more experimental and daring with the clothing that they used to wear compared to us today. They were not afraid of eccentric head accessories. As a matter of fact, they weren't afraid of eccentric makeup either.
Complex ornamental design was a deep and significant part of human culture since the dawn of humans, basically since people started clothing themselves. It was until about 1931, when Adolf Loos, an Austrian architect, wrote Ornament and Crime. He compares excessive ornamentation to being something that's criminal and inhuman. This essay became a seminal text in many architecture circles. There's a lot of really good minimal design out there. It's based on a history of cultural erasure and fascism. And I don't know, I just wish more of the world looked like this.
So the reason why garments got so much more simplified is not only because of obviously the Industrial Revolution and how machines were making a few parts of our clothing, but also it's aesthetic, and the aesthetic derives from the philosophy of fascism, of how everything needs to be simplified and utilitarian, and things like decorating clothing in ornate details are excessive and not really appreciated. This ideology leads to a lot of cultural erasure. A lot of the clothes that our ancestors traditionally wore were now considered gaudy or outdated or tacky, extra. A lot of negative connotations were put alongside being dressed in more stuff, in embracing cultural maximalism. One thing that I did not mention in that video, and I think also might have a lot to do with the rise of minimalist fashion, is the World War I, World War II that happened, where we're seeing this like militarization in fashion, where everyone is wearing the same exact clothing that is being mass produced now in factories and in sweatshops. And I think that through these world wars and half the population at least dressing exactly the same for such a long period of time kind of established a sense and a desire for uniformity in fashion. And it's not only half the population that was fighting in these wars, but also the other half. We see that a lot of women were now working in factories and also in male-dominated professions. And as they entered these factories to work, they were also required to wear uniforms. And so dressing in a uniform way was something that just took over Western civilization in a big way. And also during a time that Western civilization had a huge impact on the entire world. And I think that also might play a part. Another critique of quiet luxury that I've seen online is that it is racist. So I want to share this clip that I saw on TikTok.
The idea of quiet luxury is racist. Stated differently, the trend in minimalist fashion is rooted in exclusion and has racist implications. Quiet luxury is presented as the opposite of the ostentation and excess of plebeians and the nouveau riche. This lack of taste, i.e. discordant colors and over-the-top styling, has been historically associated with Black people since the era of slavery. When people valorize self-wealth, epitomized most recently by the row, the costuming in Tar and Succession, and Gwyneth Paltrow's courtroom outfits, they are repudiating the aesthetic of people who have been denied access to the brands and resources that make this look possible. It's a rejection, even if unconscious, of the aesthetic values of many people of color.
I can see this TikToker's point, but I also kind of disagree, because wearing color is not something that is actually exclusively associated with any culture specifically or race. It's something that all cultures have actually done historically. Even white people, from the Iberian people that had very colorful clothing, all the way to the Eastern Europeans that also had very colorful, very ornate, embellished, and maximalist traditional clothing, all the way down to ancient Greece, where the temples and the statues were actually painted and had beautiful colors on them. Nothing was white and plain and bland. Love for color and embellishment and artistry is a human experience, not something that belongs to one specific race or something that is adopted exclusively by one specific race. Now, I totally understand how there can be associations because, for example, the ancient Greek marbles and statues, all the paint has faded away, and therefore it's now associated with this white, clean, minimalist aesthetic. But the ancient Greeks, were absolutely maximalist. For me personally, I feel like the real debate when it comes to quiet luxury is whether or not it is classist. And under the umbrella term of classism, you can also find racism in there. But I want to look at the bigger picture here, and that is classism, in my opinion. So the thing is that all clothing tells a story. All style aesthetics are a different language. And whether we do it subconsciously or not, we all speak the language of fashion. We all communicate with each other through the clothes that we wear. And we not only tell others who we are, what we believe in, what we stand for, but we also observe that in the other people around us. And so it's very natural to make assumptions, whether those are positive or negative, about other people based on the clothing that they're wearing. So through the quiet luxury aesthetic, what we see and what the wearer is trying to say is that, hi, I am elegant, I have taste, I am wealthy, but I don't want to brag about it. I don't want to rub it in your face by wearing big logos that kind of put a huge yellow sign over me that says, look at me, I have money, I'm better than you. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable about the fact that I have money, but still I do want to feel and look expensive and better than you. Because this clothing is also very modest, it has a professionalism attached to it. So this is clothing that is more appropriate to be worn in professional environments. The interesting thing here is that we associate cream colors and beige colors and expensive fabrics and just plain minimalist lines with this language that I just described. But that is cultural. In a different culture, in another parallel universe, wearing this might come across as saying I'm elegant, saying I'm wealthy, saying I'm this and that. And we don't even have to imagine a parallel universe, because historically, wealthy humans have dressed themselves in a vastly different way than what we are seeing now with the quiet luxury aesthetic. People during the Renaissance wore bold colors and very voluminous sleeves and these skirts that were shaped like they were stealing a flat screen TV. And in even more ancient times, queens and kings were adorned in gold and jewelry all over the place, and precious gemstones and clothing with embroidery and intricate shapes on them, and just a lot of stuff. So yes, historically we have associated elegance and taste and wealth with vastly different things than what we are associating with it now. Fashion is a language, and it evolves constantly, and there will always be new ways for us to tell others, hi, I'm elegant, I'm chic, I'm well behaved, I am modest, I am a business person, I have money, but I'm not obnoxious about it. And what is even more amazing about the language of fashion is that you don't have to be a native speaker of it in order to speak that language. You don't have to be born into money or be wealthy, as a matter of fact, in order to follow this quiet luxury aesthetic. All you have to do is learn how to speak that language and perform it as if it comes naturally to you, and others will make all of those assumptions about you without them being really true necessarily. So by that I mean, if you are really good at thrifting and you can find expensive, high quality things at the thrift store that are minimal, that have simple lines and are just generally this quiet luxury, minimalist aesthetic, then you can dress yourself in this way. You can come across as a person that is the type of person that follows this trend. And then as a result of that, you get treated in the way that a person that follows this trend gets treated, because everyone else speaks that language, everyone else understands these things that you are saying through your clothes. And I find this absolutely fascinating. The fact that we can use and exploit the language of fashion in order to help us succeed or achieve different things in life, or send a message to others that we want to send non-verbally, is fascinating to me. So yes, we can certainly sit here and say this quiet luxury trend is problematic and it's classist and we should not be encouraging it. But rejecting that aesthetic is only gonna lead to a different type of aesthetic being adopted and associated with that language, because you cannot kill the language. There's always going to be people that are going to be striving to send a certain message to other people, unless, I don't know, maybe something happens in humanity and people suddenly are like, no, I don't want to be perceived as classy, I don't want to be perceived as wealthy, and suddenly this language, so to speak, is going to be completely forgotten. I don't know if humanity is ever going to reach a point where there are going to be no people that want to speak that language. And for me personally, I think it's okay. I think it's okay for people to want to express themselves. And if there are people that feel like they want to tell others that, hey, I'm classy and modest and rich, I think it's okay for the most part, because everyone actually has the option to dress in a way where they say that without necessarily being any of that. Once you speak the language of fashion, you are able to use it to your advantage and to dress in the various different languages that you want to speak and achieve the various different things that you want to achieve. And I think that like having this knowledge and knowing like wearing these clothes to an interview are going to give me a higher chance of getting hired, or wearing these clothes to a business meeting are going to help me be taken more seriously, or like wearing these types of clothes are going to help me blend in and be very inconspicuous and not noticed, or on the other hand, wearing these clothes are going to help me stand out, be more noticed, and becoming more noticed is going to give me like more opportunities. And I see how I like to wear bold and obnoxious clothing when I'm filming my videos, because I know like this is a very visual medium. And so I pay a lot of attention and spend a lot of time planning and contemplating what I'm going to be wearing from the waist and up, because this is going to also be sending a message. And like, I'm very much interested in being like, hey, you are now visiting a channel where you are going to be getting fashion, you're going to be getting sassiness, you're going to be getting a very obnoxious personality possibly. And like, I like to be able to say certain things through my clothes as well. And I think we all do it either consciously or subconsciously. And the other thing is, when it comes to all of these trends, especially if they are trends that are as timeless as the quiet luxury trend actually is, you have the opportunity to dress sustainably much more easily as well. When a trend is actually not a trend and it's an aesthetic that has existed for a very long time, what you get from dressing in this way is clothing that you are going to be able to consistently wear time and time again until the clothing starts falling apart. And that's not only sustainable, but it's also very affordable, because then you don't have to constantly be buying new clothes to update your closet, because the clothing that you have are clothing that you can wear time and time again and don't go out of style. That being said, whatever aesthetic feels authentic to you, whatever aesthetic feels like you are going to be wearing this time and time again as the years roll in and out and the trends change, then that is a sustainable style. It doesn't matter if that style was trending for maybe 5 months. If it is a style and an aesthetic that you enjoy wearing and you will continue enjoying wearing for years and years to come, then I think that is a sustainable aesthetic. So what I'm trying to say is that the only sustainable aesthetic that really exists is the one that gives you joy and you love wearing it time and time again. As trends come in and out of style, you still want to dress this way. So for me, I realized that like very chunky shoes, Bratz doll shoes, I loved them when they were in style 10 years ago. They're back in style now, and they're definitely going to go out of style. But I don't care, because I like wearing shoes with just the chunkiest sole, and I like how they make my outfits look. I love how they make me feel. I love that they make me super tall without actually wearing any heels. So that's like something that for me is a timeless aesthetic. That's a little example. So I want to know what you think, especially when it comes to the language of fashion, because I don't think that this is a topic that I've brought up in any of my videos, and I think it's really fascinating. And I kind of only brushed the surface of it, so I really want to know what you all think about it. So I can then start taking your thoughts and processing them and turning them into soup or something like that. Thought soup. Anyways, it's late, and I am just now auto-generating sentences that make no sense. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video. I would very much appreciate it if you did that. And hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. And I will see you soon. Bye.